Hello everybody, my name is Christian, and with another update around the corner, it's time to talk about who you should pull in version 4.5 of Honkai Star Rail. This is going to be a pretty unique patch, as we not only have a shortened patch length at only 5 weeks, but also both a story chapter and continuance available. Definitely a lot, and that doesn't even take into account the powerful new characters releasing with Robin Summeretto and Aventurine Wayflare. These two are shaping up to be the characters of the patch thus far, and alongside them are some reruns you won't want to miss. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, become a YouTube member down below, and with that said, let's get into it. As per usual, before we get into the video, there is some extra information to go over. We've already received the drip marketing for the next version, and it only features one character, with Pearl being the next character of the Elation Path. Definitely quite a lot of elation again, but hey, that's just how the cookie crumbles, right? Alongside her announcement, we've also gotten official confirmation of the ZZZ collab with HSR, which will be bringing characters over from that world to join the HSR cast. There's been no official confirmation, but if you are someone who likes ZZZ, its characters, or just has intense FOMO, I would start saving up now to get those characters and their light cones. Outside of those two things, no Nova Flares or random free characters to talk about, so let's get into our first character of the day, the idol with a brand new look, Robin Summeretto. Robin Summeretto is a Win Remembrance 5-star, and to say she's good is quite the understatement. Much like Mordenak's Blade before her, Robin is releasing as one of the best support options in the game at all Eidolon levels, and for almost all teams. She has everything you could want in a character. High attack frequency, built-in defense shred, energy regen for allies, an action advance, HP scaling so she can tank hits easier for Stainless, all packaged with some of the top Eidolons for support in the entire game. Robin is in fact the whole package, viewers, and the pull value here is off the charts. Let's dive into her kit now, starting with her central mechanic. As expected of any Remembrance unit, Robin can summon out a Memo Sprite to assist her in battle, or in this case, Memo Sprites, as Robin actually has 3 in her kit. Now these are all still technically one Memo Sprite that act together, but they still need to be summoned out over time. This happens alongside Robin's stacking mechanic, Vibes. Robin Summeretto will continuously gain vibes throughout a battle when allies attack, or as allies receive some form of sustain. When Robin initially uses her skill, it summons out her first Memo Sprite, and as you accumulate more vibes, you will summon out the next 2 birds. When Robin has all 3 Memo Sprites summoned, she will enter the Fever State. While the Fever State is active, Robin will put up a zone that ignores enemy defense for your whole team, increases damage dealt by Robin and the birds, and increases damage taken by all enemies as well. On top of this, while the Fever State is active, the Memo Sprites will use their skill to attack all enemies on the field until Robin runs out of vibes, with each attack draining half of her available vibes. In summary, because that was a lot, the moment you get the Fever State, Robin and her birds will do a bunch of damage to enemies while also giving the whole team massive buffs to play around. Keep in mind, I'm not even done with her kit. We can now talk about her ultimate, and wouldn't you know it, seems like the Charmony siblings learned the same tricks growing up. For her ultimate, Robin Summeretto will action advance one ally by 100%, and then regenerate 20% of their max energy. On top of this, the ally with her ultimate buff will generate additional vibes when they attack. Ultimately, what this new Robin boils down to is RMC 2.0. This is everything you can ask for in a general purpose character, and I cannot state that enough. She brings everything to the table, and thanks to her buffs being all about increasing overall damage, she is flexible to just about anywhere that you would need. You should pull the new Robin if you want one of the best supports in the game, hands down. It is during this section that I want to talk about Mordenak's Blade and Robin. These two are pretty easily the best supports in the game, and it isn't a debate. They simply offer too much to any team they're a part of thanks to their massive amp and flexibility as both normal and sustainless options. While both are incredible characters with some overlapping advantages, there is some reason to go for one or another. While both characters do want to sustain to truly be at their best in normal teams, Blade is the only character who is truly capable of being a sustain damage sponge. Robin can simply be built tanky for hits, but Blade? He can restore HP and revive himself if he hits 0 HP in the Infinite Fury state. Comparatively, Blade also focuses more on vulnerability, whereas Robin is a bit more reliant upon defense shred for her buffs. There's also the obvious of Robin offering energy, whereas Blade offers more damage. They both have great attack frequency for those who are mainly concerned about that, so that's another feature they both share. These are both phenomenal supports, and while both can work in most scenarios, I would say Robin has higher general value to most accounts, and Mordenak's Blade has a higher value to sustainless players, and for those with the specific teams of Acheron, Ashvale, or just follow-up in general. This is just in my opinion, of course, so feel free to disagree. Now, let's move on to the second new unit of this update, Aventurine Wayflare. Aventurine Waveflare is a Quantum Elation 5-star, and wow, looky mom, more goddamn elation! Now I can yell about the path as much as I want, and I definitely will in a later video, but Aventurine Waveflare is far from any normal elation character. He is an elation character who, for once, doesn't require a bunch of other elation characters to be great. This is a perfect segue for his kit, as built into his talent is a mechanic that gives him different advantages depending on the team that he's in. When Aventurine is with other elation characters, he will receive a massive boost to his elation stat. However, if you put Aventurine on a team with no elation characters, he will boost the speed of Aha Instant so that it can still be consistently used in any battle Aventurine is in. On top of this, he also gains Certified Banger and Punchline when teammates attack to help him generate those important elation stats. This is practically unheard of for HSR, having a character with a dual identity properly built into their kit. Aven is the first to really display this ability, and it's been implemented in a very unique way that allows him to either be a smooth entryway into elation for players, or he becomes a great new hypercarry DPS for the mono men team consisting of Ashvale and Blade. This is something that is truly pretty crazy, but we still have so much more to talk about with Aventurine. Looking at what else he can do, let's talk about how he does damage. Aventurine in terms of damage is reliant upon his elation skill. This elation skill does damage whenever his personal stack mechanic of Fervor reaches 10. Upon using his elation skill initially, when the Aha Instant is triggered, Aventurine will use an enhanced version of his elation skill, which is considerably stronger. This is the bread and butter of his damage, with his base skill and ultimate both being more okay sources of damage. His ultimate does grant Fervor, Punchline, and a massive speed boost for Aventurine, which is pretty invaluable for a character who scales off speed. My final note about Aven is that he does provide pretty nice buffs to his team just like Ashvale does, once again adding to his overall strength as both a main DPS and dual DPS character. Aventurine having one of the more unique designs in this game, coupled with more flexibility than the average DPS, and he ends up landing himself as not only one of, if not the strongest DPS in the game, but also a phenomenal pull for most players who want him. You should pull Aventurine if you have the mono men team, you have Silverwolf level 999 without Sparksy, you want an elation team in general, or you want a strong DPS that you are willing to invest in. So, now let's talk about this open and honest. I think Robin is definitely the better pull for this patch. She is a generalized character with a lot of strength, meaning she can be slotted into anywhere as either an upgrade or side grade at worst. That is undeniably powerful, but that doesn't mean Aventurine is worthless either. Aventurine is not only an absolute powerhouse, but like I said previously, he has a fair bit of flexibility to him. He can be run with mono men, as a solo elation DPS, as a dual DPS for Silverwolf or Evanesia, and even has free-to-play options since he can buff himself so much. The biggest issue stems from Robin simply having higher value as a support compared to Aven, to the point both her and Aven have similar value in his best teams. If you're pulling both characters, that's perfect, as Aven can go to elation or the men team, while Robin receives usage elsewhere. If you're only pulling for one though, I would make sure your account does not need any support upgrades for your most important teams before you grab him. I know it seems like I'm doom posting here, but I'm really not. Aventurine will be a top 5 DPS upon his release pretty easily. The real problem stems from he's just paired with a support goat. That is a really hard competition for him to pull ahead in, unfortunately. At the end of the day though, pull what you like, as that is how you're most likely to enjoy HSR. With our new characters talked about, let's now move on to the reruns we have available for this version. Starting with our first half character, we have the return of the Aeon of Veracity and her keeper, Hyacinth. Hyacinth is a Win Remembrance 5-star. That sounds familiar. That was released in version 3.3. Everyone at this point knows the name Hyacinth and Little Ika. They strike fear into the hearts of meta players everywhere, as the premier sustain for the last year essentially. They not only had entire modes shield around them, but this is a necessary character in the flagship Remembrance team featuring Casterus. Hyacinth was an absolute force in the meta, and even with Pearl coming out soon and likely being a sustain, this doesn't diminish the value of Hyacinth at all. Let's go over how this monster of a kit works. When using skill, Hyacinth will summon out her Memo Sprite Little Ika, and then she will restore HP for the entire team. When Little Ika is out on the field, they will constantly regenerate HP for teammates who are hit, while draining their own. A pretty simple mechanic, but effective all the same. And it's improved even more when you use Hyacinth's ultimate. This ultimate will increase the max HP of everyone on the team, while also enhancing Little Ika. Ika will attack immediately after ultimate is used, and for the next few turns, Ika will attack whenever Hyacinth uses a basic attack or skill. These attacks are capable of doing genuinely massive damage, with Ika consistently being able to hit over 100k on a single enemy. Pairing this with her powerful light cone makes for a supercharged DPS sustain hybrid, with the power to assist any team that she's on, while also making sure they never get close to being knocked out. You should pull Hyacinth if you have no other good sustains. Quite frankly, Hyacinth is in fact that good, and while she can be a little less useful nowadays depending on your team, you will not die with her, plain and simple. She is reliable and strong with amazing Eidolon and light cone investment for players who are interested. For players not skilled enough for sustainless play, or for players who only have one good sustain, then yeah, I really cannot recommend Hyacinth enough. Our final character on the chopping block for today is the detective who loves a DoorDash promotional code, Ashvale. Ashvale is a Lightning Hunt 5-star released in version 4.1, and serves as the current DPS of Mono Men, while also being one of the more unique DPS in the game. Starting with his primary mechanic, Ashvale is a follow-up character. He can hold up to 3 charges, and anytime someone attacks a target that he has marked as bait, he will unleash a follow-up attack, while also regenerating energy for himself. Each of these follow-up attacks, as well as his skills, contribute to his Gluttony stacks. Gluttony is a mechanic directly linked to Ashvale's ultimate, making it stronger. When Ashvale uses ultimate, a few things will happen. He will deal damage to a single enemy first, and then unleash an enhanced follow-up attack on them. For every 4 stacks of Gluttony he has, he will unleash another follow-up, capping out at 12 stacks of Gluttony. After this, he will regenerate all 3 of his follow-up charges. This kit alone leads to him being a very powerful damage dealer, but he actually offers even more to his team. Ashvale has a built-in 40% defense reduction for his entire team, while also increasing the crit damage of all ally targets by 40, and for those with follow-up attacks, an additional 80% on top of that. He is one of the most powerful DPS in the game, while also being a perfect complementary character to multiple teams. He has everything you could look for in a DPS character, and has landed himself firmly as a top tier in the current meta. You should pull Ashvale if you have Mordenka's Blade to pair with him, want to add to an existing Acheron team, or are looking for the best partner for Aventurine Waveflare. Now, I'm not 100% certain about this, but from most reports that I've seen, Ashvale is by far the partner that benefits Aventurine Waveflare the most, it seems. And while Mordenka's Blade is still an extremely helpful partner for Ashvale, those two instead will be the bread and butter of Mono Men, with Mordenka's Blade being your next most important step. Thanks to his defense reduction, Ashvale can really fit in a lot of teams, so hey, if you get creative with him, I'm sure you'll find some way for him to stand out. Alright, now dear viewers, we can talk about the 4 stars available on the rerun banners. They're all mid. Sorry to be harsh, but yeah, the only one of these worth anything is Gallagher, so yeah, keep that in mind, I guess. Something more worthy of note, however, is the new light cone being released for Elation. This is available on the first half banner alongside Robin, and will seemingly be a good replacement cone for Aventurine. While they've done this on purpose to make you have to pull on both banners, for those without a solid DPS cone for their Elation characters, this might just be a worthwhile pickup for you. Now, our final segment for the day, the investment section, where I tell you how to avoid breaking your account. Now, for the first time ever, I am going to talk about the characters coming out and their investment rather than waiting for their reruns. At the time of release, creator server videos should be out, meaning you can see the character eidolons from those videos. I know people have been wanting this for a bit, so here we go. Let's start with Robin Summeretto. Robin has an incredibly powerful E2. It is a massive boost for her and her team, and her E1 essentially acts as a mini Cypher ult for her, granting her even more damage. Her light cone, while a solid piece of utility, doesn't really offer the same value. The biggest thing of note for Robin is the fact that she simply doesn't have any other good cone options. This is the most unfortunate part about it, so while that is something you should keep in mind, if you plan on using Robin for a long time and don't mind investing, going for E1 now to get closer to E2 is absolutely the move here. Next up, we have Aventurine Waveflare. Elation cones still aren't great right now, so while I do feel like his light cone has incredibly high value, his E1 is simply one of the best DPS eidolons in all of HSR. On par with that of Evanescea E1, this is the pickup to make if you want your Aventurine to be at his absolute peak performance. He will be harder to build, however, so please do keep that in mind when pulling. Moving on to Hyacinth, any investment here is good investment low-key. Her light cone is great for multiple characters thanks to its speed boost and granting a debuff. As for her E1 and E2, They are both good Eidolons, with E1 mainly being a boost for HP scalers, and E2 being an amazing general purpose speed boost. Realistically, it varies situation to situation, but if you're using an HP team, get E1, and if not, get her light cone. That is probably the best way to go about it. Last but not least, Ashvale. Ashvale Sig is incredibly nice for him, and really no other option is as comparable in my opinion. He does have a decent E1 and E2, so if you are focusing on main DPS Ashvale, getting a light cone in either of those would be pretty nice for his overall damage. The only note here is that within his best teams, Ashvale often needs the least investment. Mordenak's Blade and Aven both have superior Eidolons, so those two should always be the priority over him. If you are someone who has Mordenak's Blade and Ashvale together, I would genuinely recommend waiting until Blade reruns and investing in him instead, as his E2 is incredibly powerful and incredibly beneficial to Ashvale. In the long run, it's going to benefit both of those characters substantially more than investing into Ashvale. And with that, we're all done for today. I changed up the style of the video today a little with moving both new banners to the start and actually including the new banners on the investment section. I hope everyone ended up enjoying that and it ended up making for a more pleasant viewing experience. Also, if I didn't get lazy, I hope timestamps were here to help as well. At the end of the day, I really do hope that this video was a help to all you people pulling, and as per usual, feel free to leave any questions you have down below, or join our Discord, where there's going to be plenty of people happy to help you. Thank you all so much for watching, I really do appreciate it. I have plenty more good videos coming out soon, so I will see you guys then. Bye bye!